Happy to have you all today for a special lunch session we initiated with Founder Institute. My name is Britta Musvolta. I'm based in Frankfurt, and we are here with some of our team members today to talk about scaling in the pandemics. And we have a very special guest I'm more than pleased to introduce today to you, which is Nicole Clark. We have some history. We met in a castle in Ledbury for a very special event where I really saw how Nicole, how good she is in business development, growth strategy, and presenting. And I found out as we stayed in contact that she started a new venture during the pandemic. Shazamme, which is a solution making recruitment marketing easy. That's as far as I know the short, brief description. And she's talking today about her bumpy journey, in a way, of 8 months being a co-founder, and will share with us her learnings, and also giving some tips and we can all learn from, as Australia is in that sense a bit a glimpse for us in Europe into the future, because they are already over the pandemic. In that sense, we're still in lockdown. And so it will be very interesting to learn more. So why don't you come in, Nicole, and share with us your journey and your findings? And I will give you the stage now.
Thank you so much, Britta, and it's so lovely to be here with you all, and thank you to the Founders Institute too for having me. We're going to be talking here about, my journey in scaling sales during pandemic times and launching a business as well. So a bit about me. I live in Melbourne, Victoria in Australia, and we were probably the hardest hit by the pandemic. So my heart goes out to you guys. I know what it's like to be in lockdown. It's and I would be saying, everyone's on here from a founder's perspective, use this time to your advantage while you're pinned down and you can't really do much else. And that's what I was lucky enough to be able to do. I've spent many, many years of my life in sales, technology, and marketing, and purely focused really around the recruitment industry in the last sort of 10 plus years. I have come from a very entrepreneurial family from a very young age. I had a daughter 10 years ago, and I started a French antique business where we were importing French antiques with my mother and my family into Victoria. And while I was doing that, I started part-time, and I was working in this recruitment marketing industry, once again, dealing in technology and websites. And it was fantastic. And I enjoyed working with clients and helping them be more successful and maneuver through the world of, opportunity in technology, which a lot of people don't get. So being able to be consultative with your technology and your sales is so important, because people will entrust in you if they believe in what you're saying and you help them do better things. Unfortunately, the company I was working with, towards the end of the journey, the technology had started getting quite old and outdated, and the principles around the actual company that I was working for, from a customer service and support perspective, was starting to really lag. And that affected me quite a lot from a sales perspective, because I always wanted the whole journey to be perfect, from the start point of introducing the product through to the end result of how someone came out of that journey and the experience that they had. And I was constantly fighting to try to get things to be improved, and it wasn't so easy. And then we got acquired, and I'd always worked in every business I'd been in as though I was an owner, even though I wasn't. I really breathed it and believed it and had a real passion for it. When we got purchased, I thought, fantastic, here we go. We're off in a new tangent and this is all going to be fantastic. And the pandemic had hit and there was a lot going on, and the world had changed dramatically in that period. And in my mind, I sort of felt like I was stuck in this same wheel, and it was turning and nothing was changing. And I felt really passionate about doing something about that. And it got to September 2019 that I decided that September 2020, I really needed to make a change and do something different. And I took a real big leap because I was on a great wage, but I thought I really need to do this for myself and rethink what we're doing and make it so much better. And I resigned mid-pandemic, which was really scary. And I'll take you through my journey now. I'm going to share my screen and give you a little bit of an insight of what that journey was like. So September 2020, I saw an opportunity. I had to get off that same wheel and resign and try to do this for myself. Come October, my business partner, who's actually on this call as well, we were working crazy hours. We were having Zoom calls and meeting different companies and thinking outside the square of what we'd always done and how we could make it better and come out with something that no one else had done before, even though it was along a similar line. And we were researching tech, coming up with innovative ideas, speaking to people. We had a slight issue occur with the past company who assumed we were doing the same thing again. And we weren't. It was just so different. And so that was a bit of a scary point for me, just thinking, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? You know, they're coming at us and it's scary. And we worked through that and showed that it's not what we were doing. It was totally different. So coming to November 2020, we're still brainstorming great ideas. We got a really smart gentleman on board who had done a lot of this tech and recruitment technology before. He helped us pivotally with our pricing model and looked at it with fresh eyes to help us think outside the square of what we knew from how we should price our product, and came up with a structure that is very, very, very beneficial for us today. He also is really good at dotting the I's and crossing the T's in areas where both Rick, who's on the call, and I didn't have the time for, and also wasn't our forte. So he was really, really helpful. We did at this point in conversations with prospects make our first sale, and we probably didn't even stop to appreciate how pivotal that particular point was. I think we're still waiting for validation that what we were doing, you know, was going to be fantastic. We also had to think, you know, in the future, how are we going to scale? How are we going to grow when the time is right? We can't do it all ourselves. So we started looking globally for fulfillment partners that could fulfill the development of websites, as well as pieces of the technology. We'd chosen to go with no code and low code technology. And this was really pivotal in making things easier as we moved through this journey, where we didn't have to employ lots and lots of developers to sit in-house to develop things for us. We could be really nimble. We also launched at the same time as the websites a marketing dashboard that was something that was clearly needed in this space, to bring everything to do with your digital brand together in one place. And we launched that. Come December, we were looking at integrations. Recruitment technology is driven by those third-party integrations. And one thing I'll say is we've always had a philosophy that recruitment, when you look at recruitment technology or any technology, actually, you should use experts to do what experts do, but those technology platforms should integrate as though they're one. And you should build those partnerships with those other providers so that you can open up the communications on how you can work more closely together to benefit the client at the end of the day. And that's a constant struggle because people get quite secretive about their technology, but it's really important. We had our alpha sort of beta launch of our technology platforms and our website platform, and we sent our first client live. And I don't think we actually stopped ever to really celebrate that, because we were just so busy moving forwards. And I think this timeline is just putting this on paper has actually made me really appreciate, you know, how far we came really quite quickly. And come to January 2021, we're still talking to clients, engaging clients. We're educating partners in the industry. Coming from this space, we knew a lot of people, which I'll touch upon further in this presentation, but that was really pivotal in getting our brand out to the market really, really quickly and having the support of people in the industry. We were constantly refining our processes and procedures. I did want to make sure that the operations were able to support us and the product and the platforms moving forwards, and that we were looking into the future of how we're going to scale and not just about focusing on today. I started drip feeding marketing, and as you know, as an entrepreneur, you need to do so many different jobs and there's a lot going on. So you need to be able to duck and weave and maneuver and really put on multitude of different hats, ideally ones that you're quite good at, and then fill those holes with where you're not, with people who can support you in those areas. So drip feeding the marketing, you know, a lot of people were like, how did you come up with that brand Shazamme? Like, what is it? And why is it so bright? And, you know, the thing that we found is it's been so memorable. People remember the colors, they remember the brand. And it wasn't until after we had chosen the name that we realized that Shazamme actually means an explanation of something extraordinary and amazing. And so that was really fulfilling after the fact. One of the things that I had always focused on, I wanted to leave everyone with a great taste in their mouth after dealing with us, that they liked us and they were going to leave us 5-star reviews. And I think dealing with each of these clients, which we really see as foundational clients, to get reviews from them, to get video testimonials, so that I could use that to promote our brand externally as we moved on. Coming into March 2021, we had a massive, I got a shock. I don't know if the rest of the team did. I didn't really talk to them much about it, but our fulfillment partner that we'd placed back in November, we really realized that they weren't the right partner to be doing what we needed them to do. And we had to look for somebody else. Now, this was our strategy of rolling out and our scalability, and it was quite unsettling for me from a sales perspective of, oh my gosh, like, how are we going to move forwards? And luckily we found a great partner really, really quickly that jumped in there and rolled with it. And I think, you know, this is the part of the waves of riding this entrepreneurial business startup. You need to not get fazed by too many things. And there'll be days where you're a little bit down and you're thinking, oh my gosh, are we ever going to come out of this? But you do, and you just need to keep going. And at the same time, we sort of realized if we're going to keep scaling at the rate we were slowly doing at the moment and scaling up to what we know we can do, we're going to need seed funding, because we need good people. We need other people to support the business in different areas. So we started going to investor presentations. This is while doing everything else. And really excited to say, and once again, it wasn't until I put it on this timeline, my gosh, you know, we went in and we've got a pre-seed valuation now of $7 million, which is just, you know, really, really exciting looking at this as it stands today. And we have more than 55 clients, and these clients are all loving us and they're promoting our business. And most of our leads now are coming through referrals from clients and other partners. So just skipping on to the growth model during a pandemic, you know, really what were we thinking about? We were thinking about a sustainable technology platform that was going to be stable, that we could rinse and repeat with no problems or issues moving forwards. We were continuing to do our market testing. I made a decision that I didn't want to do ridiculous amounts of marketing during those phases. I just wanted to get those foundational clients in place and have them have a great experience so we could learn and build from that. I know some other people in the business really wanted to push sales, and I think that it was a very conscious and a good decision looking back on it now, that by holding back on the full-on marketing blasts and email campaigns, we've been able to keep a handle on things and grow and learn and pivot and weave and ride that wave and be able to come out of it with a really good solution and an operational model that will be sustainable and able to grow with us. That was part of the drip feeding of the marketing. Our operational processes that I mentioned earlier, they were pivotal to what we did. And talking, about females and women in the workplace, I met our operations person, Paula, who was at my daughter's school, and I thought, wow, she's smart. She seems like she's got a lot to offer. And it wasn't until I got her in here working that I thought she far surpasses anything that we had hoped for, and what she brings to the table will help propel us into the future. So we're so excited to have her on board as well. There's so much to think about. You need people to help you on this journey. Training of partners, industry partners and fulfillment partners, so they understand what you're trying to achieve, and they will then be a great source of leads and contacts into the future. We also, with our marketing technology, we've got quite a suite of products, of things that we have fulfillment partners that can help deliver, from websites to marketing dashboards to services and products. And it was always in our mind that if we can start off with a $99 a month client and look after them and educate them and help them be more successful in their business, the opportunity to grow that from a $99 a month to $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 monthly amount is going to be so easy. And it's all about that education process and helping them be more successful. As I said, very excited that everything that we're doing, 5-star reviews, getting lots of video testimonials. So is it a little bit of a wrap up of some thoughts that came to my mind as I was doing this? It's hard work. Like, we work long hours, and we do sort of really sort of duck and weave and dance together and take over things if one of us just can't do it, or we're too tired, or there's other things we need to do, but it's hard work. My advice, find people to fill the gaps. If there's things that you're not good at or you don't really understand, you've got to find people that can bring that to your business, because without it, the chances of you succeeding and continuing to evolve are going to be really affected. Build relationships. I think this one has become so blatantly clear that in the past, if I was in a sales situation and dealing in the recruitment industry still, if someone didn't buy what I was selling at that point, I'd often feel quite upset about that, but I'd have to bite my tongue and still help that client and really, ride that journey out as well. And it's really paid dividends, because I've got people contacting me now today that didn't buy from my last company. They went with a competitor, and now they're coming to me at Shazamme because it was that relationship that I did build. And embed yourself in the industry that you're going to be tackling first, because you need to know it well and know the players. Don't take no for an answer. A no is never a no. It's just a not right now. So really thinking about, how can I turn a no into a yes, and continuing on the journey with those people. Choose a board and advisors that really get what you're doing. If they don't understand your product and you personally, they're never going to be able to help you in this journey. And know your competition. You've got to know what they're saying and what they're doing. So that's my story, and get out there and make it happen.
Fantastic, Nicole. Thanks for this, very to the point, description of your journey for the last 8 months together with Rick and your team. And fantastic that you also share about, that you already are hiring and even a female returning to work, which I can say bravo, because we are doing those things with And Ahead as well. So thanks for the sharing. And now I think we are here to also ask some questions, but I think before we do that, I let Quentin quickly talk about FI for a minute, and we can extend the 12:30 for a couple of minutes for more questions. So please stay with us.
Thanks, Britta. Yeah, if anyone has a question, just post it in the chat. We're collecting those. I think we already have a few. And I'm just going to take 30 seconds to tell you about Founder Institute. Britta and I and Eugenio as well, and Caroline are on here. We're all directors in Frankfurt. We run the FI program there. It's a 14-week accelerator program. It's highly structured. Each week deals with a specific aspect of starting a startup or a company. If you've got an idea, or even if you don't have an idea, we'd love to talk to you. We've helped thousands of entrepreneurs and founders start their companies. I myself am a graduate. Caroline is also a graduate. We started companies in FI, and I'd love to tell you all about it. We have a new semester starting in November, I think, so we're quite early, but there's an early bird special. Applications are free. Check it out. I'll put the link in the chat. In fact, I'll just hit enter right now. There you go. Yeah, there's also a kind of a personality test you can do, which tells you whether you have founder DNA, and that's kind of interesting. So sign up. If you have any questions, hit us on LinkedIn, Britta or me. We'd be happy to answer your questions. There's also some info sessions, and I look forward to seeing you in the fall. So back to you, Britta.
Yeah, super. Thanks for mentioning. And yeah, we are excited to start in November, next chapter. But Nicole, coming back to Shazamme and your great story so far, which also, had some bumps in it, and it will continue doing so. And you are also very transparent and open about things went well, not so well, and what it needs to become an entrepreneur. So what is there anything you would do differently today, looking back?
That's a good question. And to be totally honest, I think, I never look back. I think it's about looking forwards. And yes, there's been trials and there's been tribulations, but I would do nothing different. I think it's all about, getting on with it and making sure that you look forwards, because it's easy to get caught up in errors and past things that have gone on. But it's really about now just thinking about the future and how you can learn from those and not ever make those errors occur again. So no, nothing I'd do different. It's a learning curve.
Okay, thanks. I like that, because it's all is unforeseen in this period of time. So you just have to deal with problems which come up and come up with a solution, which brings you to the next step. Any other questions here? Please use also the chat. Something from somebody from the team.
Nicole, in terms of during the pandemic, you had to do all of your sales through virtual sessions or anything that was, how did that impact? Did that make the cycle shorter, longer, easier to make decisions, harder to make decisions? How did that go?
I think that's actually a really interesting question. In Australia, the dealings that we used to have from a business perspective, no one would deal with you if they hadn't met you face to face. And I think that one thing that this has changed is that people will buy technology now online. Some people I haven't even seen, I've just spoken to on the phone. So I think that, through the pandemic, we've seen a lot of changes. The cycles, I think, they seem similar. However, I have had a lot of people make decisions a lot faster from the online catch-ups. It's so much easier and you can get to so many more people faster. I don't know what the traffic's like over there, but here it was terrible. So sometimes you'd need to leave an hour to get to a meeting. You'd be at a meeting for an hour and then you'd have an hour to travel home. So I feel that you can get a lot more out of your day. So the amount of people you can get to, and webinars have become more acceptable. And it's not unusual to see a child run past the back or someone's dog barks, and now it's just normal. Whereas a year and a half ago, people would have been, oh my gosh, they had a child run past them. So I think that the whole thing's changed, and people have become a lot more caring. I've found, especially it seems in Australia, people are more forgiving and they're accepting, and I think it's opened people's eyes to people are having challenges, especially Victorians and the whole of Australia was really not that affected, but Victoria, where I am, we went through, similar to what you guys are going through now. And people don't understand how just knowing we couldn't leave the house and go out, people feel for each other. So there is that, that camaraderie. That was a long answer to your question, sorry. But yes, I think it's made it easier to sell.
Yeah. Nicole, you talked about that you also carefully choose the speed on how you did more sales or more marketing to serve your client in a way that you get 5-star recommendations. Could you give us a bit more explanation what you mean by that and why you think that's so important to look to your further growth?
For me personally, it was about making sure that everyone had a fantastic experience with us. And if we'd taken on, we were about to do an email blast at some point out to a large group of people and promotional activities. And had we have done that, we had that, that blip in the road of having to change fulfillment partners, that could have ended up affecting us really badly, in my opinion, and our brand. And I think learning and getting those foundations in place are so pivotal to be able to scale at the end of the day and make sure that every client ends up being an advocate of yours. For a startup, I personally feel that is so important, because if people are out there saying bad things about your brand, it's going to affect you and your sales. If they're out there saying the opposite, word of mouth spreads very quickly, especially in this industry. So that hopefully that answers your question, Britta.
Yes, thanks, Nicole. And we also have a question from one of our joining people here. You are a global company with your service. Are you already in Germany up and running?
Yeah, so we are global. We are providing recruitment website technology and marketing dashboards globally. So we can service the global community. That's actually probably a very good point. Is we also, from a customer service and success perspective, wanted to offer great customer service, and part of that was installing chat technology. So you can always chat to a human if you have a question, no matter where you are globally. And that's something that we've also instilled, that we want to be able to manage and look after all our clients everywhere.
Okay, thank you. Does that answer your question, Kai? Thank you for the question. Otherwise, you can also unmute and go further. Any more to, so he says yes. So thank you for that. Any other, so what is next on your map? What are your next steps, and how important could be Europe for you? So
yeah, very important. We are now going through that seed funding round, because we know we do need more people, and that's obviously the pivotal next pieces. Is we know we've got a great product and we know our clients are loving it, and now it's about that scaling and servicing all those clients so that they all leave extremely happy with our service. So for us, it's securing the funding, getting more good people on the bus, so that we can continue this journey and scale up. We're so ready now. We've got everything in place now to really start to push out the marketing, start to get more sales coming in, and be confident in the delivery that comes out the other end is going to be perfect. So for us now, we've done that. We've done a lot of the hard work. I'm sure there's going to be blips in the road and things, you know, and opportunities as well, where we get people coming to us all the time with ideas about how we can add features or functionality. And now, because we're using no-code technology, it makes it really easy to make changes and updates. So we'll keep evolving, but really now it's about scaling up and, you know, getting a lot more clients on board and, yeah, kicking goals.
Great. So what would be your, your top 5 clients you would like to get on board?
Oh, look, that's a
Do you
hard
want
one.
to talk about that?
It's actually a really hard one because we can service clients from startups now, which we never used to be able to do because the price point was so expensive. But because now we're using no code, we can keep our costs down. So startups are great for us, that we can help grow through this journey, who the share of wallet that we get from those companies will continue to increase because we'll keep offering other products and services that can help them, through to some of the world's largest global players. We can help as well. But I will say, you know, during this process and during those relationships, we've had some rather large clients come to us asking for help because they were having challenges with what they were using at the moment in the recruitment industry. And their clients, they're not yet live. They've only called us recently, but, you know, they've signed up to move forwards with us, and they will be, you know, figurehead clients that we can proudly, you know, say these are the large ones. But every client's important to me, because the smallest one can become very large quite quickly, as we've seen.
Yeah, great. I love that statement. And I think also time-wise, if we don't have any more questions, we can still stay. But yeah, unless there is more coming in, we can also be punctual today and close the session and let Nicole enjoy her evening back in Australia.
Any more questions from the audience? Okay, Britta.
Okay. Then thank you so much, Nicole, for coming in and sharing about your journey with Shazamme and giving hopefully a lot of valuable tips for our audience. And we wish you best of luck. Go for the pre-seed funding and develop it further. And we will definitely hear from you very soon. And yeah.
The other point, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Use the time. Start a business. Think of new ideas and new ways of doing things. It's a perfect opportunity.
Yeah. Thanks for the heads up and call out. And yeah. So thank you for coming in, everyone. And see you hopefully on our next lunch session on 10th of June with a new speaker coming in. You will get to know via social media and yeah, hope you liked it. Thanks again.